At least the Greens and the Coalition have the virtue of consistency. Labor came to government promising to scrap offshore processing. Because if you look back, you'll find endless examples of things like this.
Labor will end the Pacific solution, the so-called Pacific solution, the processing and detaining of asylum seekers on Pacific Islands because it is costly, unsustainable and wrong as a matter of principle. I will maintain my objection to Nauru. It's costly and it won't work.
The Immigration Minister today signed the document that will allow asylum seekers to be sent into detention on the Pacific island of Nauru. The announcement wasn't so smooth.
I'll get that from you. Security's been improved, I couldn't get in.
There should be no built-in advantage for people who arrive by boat.
You've got people smugglers who earn more than $1 million a boat. On some of these boats, they're making up to $2 million a boat. They're not going to give up easy.
More than 4,000 asylum seekers have arrived since offshore processing was rebooted on August 13.
People who come by boat should be treated the same way as people who are waiting for resettlement in camps.
This is a government which has totally lost control of our borders.
Now, I wanted to make the point very clearly today that anybody who arrives by boat from this moment onwards runs the risk of being processed somewhere else. Because
in fact, 87 people have arrived by boat this afternoon.
Well, that was before this announcement. That was at 1 o'clock.
So they're not included in that?
No.
It's accurate to say, isn't it, that the asylum seeker policy that you announced in August has not yet acted as any sort of deterrent to people trying to come to Australia via boat?
Well, I think there's a few challenges here, Lee, and
few challenges? Come on. Despite multiple policy changes by two Labor governments over the last 5 years, the asylum seeker boats continue to come in record numbers. The reality is you've announced some things, so you'd expect to see some progress, but everything is trending in the wrong direction. The numbers continue to go up, not down.
You cannot expect Howard government outcomes without the full suite of Howard government policy.
Because Nauru and Manus are basically already full because of the number of arrivals you've had coming to Australia, the effectiveness of those options as a deterrent is already over.
Oh, no, I don't necessarily accept that full premise.
And today the dam wall broke. The government will now begin processing their claims for refugee status in Australia and then release them into the community.
Well, how is it still a deterrent if they're already full and people know they are coming to Australia?
I'll be making it clear that we will continue to transfer people to Nauru and Manus Island. Very soon we'll have our first transfer to Manus Island.
4,000 plus people, because that's how many people are in limbo now in Australia. 7:30 understands that 2,000 asylum seekers will now be released into the community. With the people who are currently in Australia in limbo who've come in after August, you are going to have to start processing some of them in Australia, aren't you?
Well, I'll be making, obviously, further updates and further announcements about how we're managing that.
7:30 understands that more than 2,000 asylum seekers will be released into the community and unable to get a job, something that will put enormous strain on non-government and perhaps even state-based services.
In the 5 years that Labor's been in power, so far close to 26,000 people have arrived by boat. In the entire 11 years of the Howard government, only 14,000 or so people arrived. Is it logical then to say that the old raft of policies were more effective at stopping the boats than the current raft of policies are?
As I say, we're introducing Nauru and Manus Island. In relation to the other two policies, turn back the boats, we've talked about that, how unworkable that is.
What we've indicated is that the conditions for turning the boats back do not exist right now.